Hello and welcome to Savepoints, cosmic lessons I've learned about life and myself by playing video games. My name is Gold Vision, and I'd like to welcome survivalists, doomsday preppers, alien doomsday preppers, and alien utopian preppers as well. Why does everybody rule that one out? Today I'd like to share a lesson I learned while playing Ark Survival Evolved. As the name suggests, it is a survival game, but unlike the genre implies, it is actually full of everything that tries to kill you. Famine, hunger, malnutrition, inanition, atrophy, and even starvation. The lesson is concerned with how to avoid this conflict, which typically comes from seeing the environment as my enemy. I've found that rather than fighting against one's experience, sometimes it is in his or her best interest to play along. I started my character build, and after designing what I felt to be the perfect survival man, naming him Rampor, I stepped into the world of Ark, a place I had visited only once before, unfortunately dying from starvation within minutes. It was very night, I guess, and as I wandered about virtually naked, I decided to perform the classic survival trope of tree punching. Thatch and wood and no food pouring from the trees, I was eagerly anticipating my second go with starvation in absolute darkness when a light suddenly appeared. Thatch. Oh, that's a person. Hey, how's it going? After a brief introduction, no pun intended, I explained to my new acquaintance that I'm not particularly sure exactly what to do, and am particularly worried as it is night, a time typically reserved for creepers and man-eaters. Frosty starts me off with sage advice to press V, which would open my wrist crystal thing. He could hear me but seemed to prefer the typed chat. Frosty instructs me to build a pickaxe, which unfortunately I cannot. My thatch and wood were not enough. I would need a stone as well. Frosty's tips were helpful. Rocks were scattered on the ground, and soon enough I was well equipped with a pickaxe, and I didn't even have to punch any cobblestone. Boom. I was then instructed to build a torch, and before I was able to find the necessary flint, Frosty was asking me if I was interested in joining his tribe. I was exceedingly hesitant. I prefer to avoid organizations of any sort until I have thoroughly researched their environmental impact and 15-year plans, although I have to admit I was probably going to die the minute he pulled that torch away. On that basis alone, I agreed. Deciding to play along, he accepted my proposal of a trial membership, and then, as if he was unaware of my zero-item itinerary, Frosty instructed me to stand still. Rampor and I watched as Frosty took off on his pterodactyl Bubbles, and for a moment I thought he was about to forget me. I was about to celebrate my renewed independence and likely malnutrition and early death, but unfortunately I was not forgotten, and instead whisked away into the sky. Oh, that's weird. Alright. I'm flying with this guy. Next I'm gonna get a warning before something so terrifying happens. Soon after, I found myself within an animal pen filled with harnessed dinosaurs. I felt secure, although at the same time vulnerable, and now imprisoned, and of course still destined to experience every nuance of malnutrition. I decided to use the level point I had achieved by simply standing around in the darkness thus far to increase my food capacity. This would hopefully be beneficial when I found food to remain satiated just a little bit longer. Frosty told me to continue to wait until the tribal leader arrived, but after witnessing him going through the motions of eating, my concerns moved towards what invisible snack he might have been willing to share. Also, could I get some food or some direction as to how to obtain some?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? I was interrupted by the arrival of a new player with shiny armor, the fabulous Cabbage. Cool hat. What's that?
Are you the new guy?
Yeah, I'm the new guy.
Are you new to this game or are you new to the server?
Brand new to the game. Wow, level 64.
You're new to the game?
Yeah, I just got it yesterday.
Yeah, one level away from max level.
That's hardcore. Congratulations.
Hey, if you want to level up fast, you can get on my Sabertooth, and that thing can pretty much kill anything, but stay away from T-Rexes, and if it gets below half health,
It was hard for me to process all of this direction. Yes, I was impressed by the gear of the fabulous Cabbage, namely the skull helmet from whatever a source, but I was more concerned with what was in Rampor's best interest, once again trying to survive. I still wasn't technically a member of the tribe, and the presence of such intense defenses in now 1100s battle fashion brought me to understand that they might be of the warring or violent type. I couldn't close the door, so I continued to stand there, shivering and starving.
You're stand still? so you hold E on me, and then there should be accept invite, and then you just hover over that until the countdown goes down.
And just like that, I was a member of the boomstick tribe, meaning as far as I could tell, the names of the members would be green instead of yellow, and I could now open any of the doors that belonged to the tribe. I was also now protected in their metal fortress as I continued to slowly starve. Within a few more minutes, I was fully equipped with hide armor and exiting the facility a full-fledged member of the tribe Boomstick. Awesome. Solid, thank you. It was then that Mr. Cabbage gave me the lowdown.
Oh, also, there's a giant war in between the Japanese, Chinese, and the people that speak English on this server. There's guys out there on pteranodons that will pick you up and ask you if you speak English. Speak English.
Wow, okay. I really wasn't sure how I felt about such a war. I had heard this game allows players to destroy the works of others, and the Tower of Babel-style division made all too much sense. Not knowing how brutal it would actually get, and only equipped with a pickaxe, my choice to abandon the tribe seemed a non-option, to be thrown back into the wilderness to fend for myself in a world where I might be picked up by some kind of Miss Mastodon and be dropped to death for once again being rusty on my Mandarin. We headed back to the dinosaur pen, and I tried to be amiable. It's pretty impressive.
Seems someone took the saddle off the sandbar. I'll be right back.
As Mr. Cabbage went to retrieve a saddle, I was faced with Skeletor, Hornetta, and Sandbar, the somewhat buried Sabretooth I would be piloting. I wasn't sure how this would go down, or exactly which episode of the Flintstones this was based on, or why Mr. Cabbage was so quick to loan me a level 43 battle monster, but it started to lose relevance when I was told Rampor was dehydrated. My water quotient had hit 0, and the corners of my retinas were starting to flare, an effect I thought was kind of fun in spite of its horrible warning. I tried not to sound too desperate when my host returned. Hey, you don't have any water, do you? Apparently I'm dehydrated.
On me, I don't, but the Sabretooth's pretty fast. You can write him down. Okay, so if he gains a level, just press F. You'll access his inventory while writing it, and keep upgrading his damage.
Alright. With that guidance, I was off, kind of, because actually piloting a Sabretooth was slightly harder than I thought. Sandbar had a relatively low turn radius. I tried not to ding her into any of the walls, the urgency of dehydration notwithstanding. Mr. Cabbage was right, Sandbar was fast, and soon I was basking in the fresh water on the beach. As I had been directed to hunt and use Sandbar to do so, I encounter a giant turtle monster I immediately and quickly dispatch. Using my pickaxe, out of its body I mine a variety of useful resources, including raw meat, at which point all of my starvation woes vanish. I was now, as far as I was concerned, a member of the tribe and was ready to defend Boomstick to my death. Soon after, I was hunting on my own. In 2 bites, I defeated a parasaur, which was a rather peculiar animal. When it died, the parasaur would do a slow wibbly-wobbly rotation up and around into the sky, a genetic trait paleontologists would later classify as wibbly-wobblyismation. And I should note, it too had raw meat within, which, unlike the beast, did not wibble nor wobble. It's weird, right? I would hack up some trees, a habit most survival games had beaten into me, and then I would be found by Mr. Cabbage.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey.
Hey man, if you needed tools, just say so.
I was just trying to level up my crafting abilities.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to grab up all your supplies before I knew what to do with them, you know?
Yeah, you know, you want to see the fastest way to level up at your level?
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
Alright, follow me.
He would suggest we hunt something bigger than the thatched-filled monsters that erupted from the ground, a brontosaurus. That sounded particularly exciting and daunting, and as we explored the beach, he issued caution.
Hold up. Follow me. You guys, stop. Stay still and we will not hurt you. Stay still and we will not hurt you. Stand still and we will not hurt you. You guys speak English? You speak English?
I tried to hold back laughter as I realized I was now basically a stormtrooper in a Papers, Please scenario.
Do you speak English? Yes or no? Just type it in chat. You speak English? You you speak English? I'm playing around here. Is this guy your friend? Yes? No? Yep. Does your friend speak English? Yeah, he does? Yes? Alright, alright. Alright, that's all I know. You, stand still, stand still. Stay there. Okay, okay, yeah. There's a war going on here, but, you know, you're fine, you're fine. Come on. Yeah, they're free to go anyway, they're fine. If you meet people like that, make sure they speak English. If they don't, kill them.
Okay. Not sure exactly what had happened. It seemed that Mr. Cabbage was responsible for this part of the world enforcing what was fortunately my personal dialect. I'm glad that these two had decided to play along and were spared a quick and naked death. As we continued to search for giant prey, we found a base on top of a waterfall. It was a pretty nice location, but apparently belonged to an enemy faction.
On that waterfall, you see it?
Yeah. We found a sign written in a language I was unfamiliar with, and Mr. Cabbage cleared the point before we moved on.
Alright, follow me.
As night started to fall, Mr. Cabbage told me of a recent battle that had affected the entire server.
There was a giant war that happened last week between the English and this giant Chinese base. It was I wasn't involved in it, but there was like a lot of screaming and racial slurs in the chat.
Wow. It was all a bit heavy to take in. I had played in Conflict before, but the teams were almost always pre-decided and assigned before the game. This was a survival game with dinosaurs and aliens probably, and yet players were divided because of the language they spoke. But if what Mr. Cabbage said was right, I was better off armed and allied than trying to fend off starvation as well as bloodthirsty players. I was glad we hadn't met any non-English players yet. I don't think I was ready to sick sandbar on a naked man or woman, as I had been in such a position no less than an hour ago. Fortunately, the next entity we encountered was the kind almost anyone would agree a worthwhile adversary.
Look at that, there's a T-Rex over there. Let's go kill the T-Rex.
A lot of camera shake later, we picked up a ton of crafting elements, all of my share going directly into the Sabertooth's inventory. I was aiding the English speakers, accomplishing things bigger than myself for a cause I had joined without knowing, but most of all I was surviving. The world wasn't big enough or safe enough for me to survive on my own, and if I hadn't been recruited by Boomstick, I might have very well been captured or killed simply on the grounds of my natural language. Either way, after the big night hunt, we headed back and penned up the dinosaurs. Mr. Cabbage leads me back to the base, wherein he introduced me to the sleeping leader, Lazy. There was a war going on whether I liked it or not, and I could choose to try to avoid it, but in all respects it was the reality in this alien world. I didn't know about the conservation of dinosaurs, or exactly how to cook the raw meat I kept ingesting, but what I did know was that I grew a lot faster and I'd be much more inclined to survive in this survival game now that I had chosen to play along. My name is Goldvision, I used the stone pickaxe, and don't forget to save.